Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, if you remember, the last 2 times we were speaking about the Varna Shrama Dharma system. We were discussing the different Varnas, or we said what is the Varna of someone is very easy to understand by just asking ourselves what are like our natural tendency for action and how we are practically making our money. Like, are we doing it through education and intellectual work? Are we making it through defense and protection, military, administration? Or are we doing it through business? Or are we doing it just by helping someone who is already active in these 3 fields? And then we started discussing the ashramas, or the stages in the human society for upliftment of our consciousness or spiritual advancement. And we explained that we could say there is like 2 main reasons why to go gradually through these different stages. Well, one reason is to become detached from material world and attached to spiritual reality. So gradually the idea is by advancing in the ashrams to make this happen. Yes. Become more and more detached to material and become more attached to spiritual, to Krishna. Then the other reason we said is expansion of consciousness. Like when we are in the beginning of our life, generally we are conscious only about ourselves. What I want to do, how do I feel, what is the goal of my life. So the idea is that going through the ashrams, you become more and more conscious about others and less conscious about yourself. For example, a brahmachari thinks only about himself, more or less. Ideally, he should think at least about his guru, but not always works. And then becoming a family person, you should start thinking about your family and less about yourself. You sacrifice yourself for the needs of the family. Then if you become a vanaprastha, then you sacrifice yourself for the village. You live for the village, for the benefit of the village. And then if you become sannyasi, ideally you should sacrifice yourself for the whole world. So you don't think about yourself, you think about benefit of everybody else. That's the idea. And also we can make some parallel with, we are comparing the different varnas with the different parts of the social body. Yes, the brahmanas are the head, kshatriyas are the hands because they protect and they fight back if need be. And then the vaishyas are the stomach, the belly, yes. Without energy, the body cannot function. Without money, without food, without dairy products, the body cannot function. And then we have the legs, the workers. They are the legs, they are moving things. And similarly, ashramas, also some comparison can be done. Why? Because again, brahmacharis, they should not be lazy. They should be very active, always, constantly. From morning till evening, they should not be lazy. So they are compared sometimes with the legs. And family people, they are compared with the belly. Why with the belly? Why with the stomach? Why family people with the belly?
They're more relaxed and, you know, I mean, they feed family and take care of them.
We are going.
Think about where the money's coming
Money.
from.
Yes,
They have to
money.
make money.
Yeah, the money.
They take care of the rest of the ashrams.
Correct. They are the only ones they are making money. The brahmacharis are not making money. The vanaprasthas are not making money. Maybe they have something put aside, but generally they don't make money. And the sannyasis also. So basically all of them, they go and they beg from the grihasthas. And grihasthas are supporting all the three other ashramas. So that's why you could say like a belly. They give energy to the whole spiritual part of the society for their spiritual development. And then, of course, sannyasis are compared with the head. Why? Because they are the natural spiritual masters of the whole society. All ashramas and all varnas, including the brahmanas. Brahmanas are subordinate to the sannyasis. Means if someone is sannyasi, he is higher than a brahmana. And then vanaprasthas, in a sense, they can be compared with the hands, in the sense that they are giving protection to the, especially to the family people, and to the brahmacharis also, but especially to the family people. They give advices. Hare Krishna. Happy to see you, bro. Join us if you don't have anything else to do.
I've got to go home.
Sure. Tomorrow we have a big kirtan, 12 to 9.
Tomorrow I drive 2 hours away.
No problem. Whenever you come back, just pass by.
It's 12 to 9, right?
Maybe we can. We have then Bhakti Center program and we coming back because it's late program. Huh?
Till 9.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna. So in a sense we can say they're like a hands because they take care, they protect the, like family people, especially in the beginning of their life, they don't know actually what's going on. So they need advice from someone who is experienced, someone who already went through the whole thing and he knows and he can give them a valuable advice. Help them to protect their life, materially and spiritually. So previous time we were speaking about the brahmachari ashram and we were giving some of the main qualities a brahmachari should develop. Why he has to develop these qualities? Because otherwise he won't be able to be successful in next stages of his life. No matter if he is going to get married or not, if he does not develop these qualities, basically he will fail in his life. So what are some of those qualities? He has to learn to follow authority. He should not be lazy. He should learn, because later he will need this knowledge practically for advancement in material sphere of life and spiritual as well. He should learn to control his senses, otherwise he won't be able to be a successful grihastha, he won't be respected from his wife. He should learn to be very sensitive, that means always to be attentive to the needs of wife, kids, society as a general, and many other important qualities. But that is the idea of brahmachari training. One should develop a character, qualities that he will need now, but especially a little later in his next stages of his life. If he does not develop these qualities at that time in the brahmachari ashram, he'll be forced to develop them later, but it will be basically urgent situation, so it will be much more difficult for him and he'll have to do it the hard way if he wants to be successful. Okay, so let's speak about the next ashram, Grihastha ashram. So generally it's from 25 to 50 years. So ideally a brahmachari will be trained at least 12, 15 or ideally 20 years training. So this is enough to create qualities in your character. At least 12 years you need to create qualities, at least. Knowledge you can get fast. Skills, it will take little time, but you can do. For a year, 2 years, you can become quite good in something. But qualities, it takes much longer. A value system and qualities based on this value system, it takes longer. That's why to develop character, you have to go through the same thing again and again and again and again. So it takes longer. So ideally 20 years or at least 15 or 12 years, or in emergency cases at least whatever, 5 years or at least 2 years. So brahmacharya, after going through his training, he can make his choice. He can continue living in the same lifestyle if he feels comfortable and he doesn't have a need to change his way of life. But if he feels that he has a need to address, then no problem, he can change his ashram, and from brahmacharya ashram he can move to the next ashram, grihastha ashram. Now sometimes there are discussions and quarrels between family people and grihasthas, which family people and brahmacharis, which ashram is higher. Is it brahmacharya ashram higher or grihastha ashram is higher? Well, technically speaking, grihastha ashram is higher. Why? Because, as we said, grihasthas, they are more, ideally they should be more free from selfishness, so they learn to give more. They earn more, but they give more. They think more about wife, kids, and so on and so on. And also another reason, well, supposedly this grihastha that you are seeing now, actually he was doing what you are doing now 10 years ago. So he actually already did what you're doing. Now he is in the next stage. He is applying the same knowledge that he got, that you are trying to get now, but he is already applying it in a different sphere of life. But the knowledge is the same. So he is one step ahead, you could say. Of course, if a brahmachari is very advanced and he has realizations from his previous lives, and he does not have to go through this step, and he can basically directly from a junior, not very experienced brahmachari very fast go to experienced brahmachari, so basically someone who is on the level of vanaprastha and sannyas, then okay, we can say such a brahmachari, he can be more advanced than a family person. But yeah, generally the ashrams not by chance goes like that: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. Okay, so some of the main duties of the householder. So a householder should learn to protect the living beings and to be always ready to do sacrifice. A family man, he gets money, he gets facilities, he can have a good house, he can have, there is no of course we as a devotee try to have a simple lifestyle, but generally there is no like some end of how much he can have. He can have one house, he can have 10 houses, he can have one car, he can have 10 cars, he can have $1,000, he can have $10 million. It's the amount is from one side is a problem because it takes more energy to maintain all these things, but the idea is it's not a problem that a family person will have all this if he can connect it with Krishna. If he can use it, connect it with Krishna, then no problem. So generally the grihastha ashram is the time for expansion. So you expand, you get things, you adjust yourself, position yourself in the society as a family, and so on and so on. So basically you are accumulating many, many, many things. So family people, they should never forget that they have to perform sacrifices for further enlightenment. What means perform sacrifices?
Like the duties for the family and their needs and food, providing food, shelter,
Yes.
all necessary daily stuff, pretty much.
Have you heard also about samskaras? Do you know what is samskara?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
No? Samskara. Have you heard? So this word samskara can be used in two different ways. Samskara, generally we devotees are using it as a deep impression in your mind. Something, a situation through which you went and it created very, very deep impression in your mind. So we call this a samskara, stays in your mind. But also samskara has another meaning. It's a ritual. Why? Because the ritual is meant to create a very deep very, very deep impression, trace in your mind. So family people, they are especially meant to do constantly, all the time, different rituals and samskaras. Why? Because this purifies their lifestyle. Like there are 10 main samskaras that a family people have to do, but actually many, many more. But the main are 10. We can just mention few of them. For example, we start with Garbhodana samskara. So first ritual is done when the family person and a man and a wife, they decide to have a kid. So they go through a purificatory process. They do something special to purify their consciousness so that they can conceive the child with a pure consciousness, so that they can attract a good soul with high consciousness in their family. Then when the woman is pregnant, in the third month there is a samskara that is done. And then later before
Almost 8 or 9 months.
before the delivery,
Right.
then when the kid, the baby comes out of the womb, there is another samskara, like a ritual which is done before his
Umbilical.
Umbilical cord.
cord to be cut.
Mhm.
Certain things are said, certain mantras. The kid should see certain auspicious things like honey, ghee, gold. These are the first impressions he gets in material sphere of life, and these are very auspicious substances. So create very sattvic samskaras in his mind, so that his intelligence becomes influenced in this way. And then later, first cutting of the hair, and then starting going to school, then finishing school, then getting married. If it's from the higher caste, he's getting a brahmana thread. All these are different samskaras. And samskara means you do a certain ritual, you invite people, you cook for them, you feed them, you give donation to the priests. So this is actually sacrifice. You learn to give again and again and again. Oh, this ritual, that ritual, this ritual, that ritual. So you give. So that this family person, he has this consciousness. Okay, I'm getting a lot, but I actually should constantly give. So especially a family person should develop very charitable mentality. This is the next important duty of the grihastha. Give charity according to time, place and circumstance. And especially Srila Prabhupada, in many places in his book, he's saying, should spend 50% of their income to propagate the Krishna consciousness all over the world. So ideally, if the person is earning good, he will be able to cover his expenses, and he will make some money on top of it. So Srila Prabhupada is saying 50% of that, ideally, a family person should just give to support the missionary spirit of the Krishna consciousness movement, missionary activities of the Krishna consciousness movement. Of course, in some places Srila Prabhupada is saying, like Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, one place, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning the same thing. He's saying a family person should give 50% of his income for spreading Krishna consciousness movement. And then little later in the purport he's saying, but if he cannot give 50%, then he can give less. Still, it will be very nice to give for this good cause, because Krishna consciousness is the best altruistic activity, charitable activity. So, giving, that is one thing we should always connect with the Grihastha ashram, is giving, 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 again and again and again. Then another interesting thing Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in many places. A Grihastha goes out and calls for hungry people 3 times before eating. One time, one devotee was on a walk, I think, with Srila Prabhupada, and he asked Srila Prabhupada, so Srila Prabhupada, what is the main duty of the family person? And he was thinking now Srila Prabhupada will give some very elaborate explanation. And he said, well, he has to go out on the street and before eating should ask, if there is anybody hungry, come, I'll feed you. And if some people show up, he has to feed them. 3 times he has to do that. And then after 5 minutes, this is what he said, okay, I understand that, but like the duties, okay, this is something that he's doing. And then Srila Prabhupada repeated the same thing. I think 3 times he repeated the same thing. So basically stressing that this is the most important thing for a family person. Give, 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 give. Now, we may feel, let's say, uncomfortable, especially in a big city like New York, to come out and, anybody hungry? Maybe not exactly this way, but we should find a way to do it. This is the principle. Give out. So don't go to the shop, buy only what is needed for yourself, go to your place, lock the door, cook for yourself, eat it all, and then sit down in front of the TV and watch TV. It's not ideal family life. It's not exactly Grihastha life. Grihastha means giving to others. Invite devotees every week, every day. Just feed some Vaishnava. Bring some sweets, some cookies with you. You see some Vaishnava, someone on the street is needy, is hungry. Give him immediately prasadam. This is the mentality. Family people, they are the maintainers of the society. Yeah. I remember with Pandava Prabhu we have a very nice devotee friend in Mayapur. His name is Chaitanya Mashai. He's one of the teachers in the Gurukul, and now he's actually in charge for the whole deity worship in Mayapur, which is big task. Lots of things are going on there. Lots of places, altars, standards. So he was a brahmachari for many years in the Gurukul, and at some point he decided to change his ashram to get married. And then, of course, like his parents, they start helping him to arrange the whole situation. And then one time we were with him. We were actually staying together in one flat for some time. So we kind of started conversation about the whole thing, about him getting married, going to Grihastha ashram, this, that. And we were asking him, so what your parents think about that? I guess they are very happy what you're doing. And he said, yeah, they are happy, but actually my father, he was calling me very seriously when he understood I am planning to get married. And we said, like, why? Generally it's the opposite way.
It should be the opposite.
Like they are very happy. He said, no, my father, he told me, if you think that you're getting married to get some sense gratification, just forget about it. Just forget about it. Don't get married. If you want to get married, you have to be an exemplary grihastha. That means at least every second or third day you should have guests in your house. If you don't have this, why you're getting married? This is the whole purpose of getting married. Make money. Every second or third day you should have some guests, some devotees, some sadhus in your home. You have to feed them prasadam. So this devotee was saying that, okay, now I have this idea and I have to try to fulfill. And we were seeing how later when he got married, and very often we were seeing, because we were staying at some point next to his flat, we were seeing how constantly some people are coming to his home. Yes.
Do they, is this more of like an Indian thing? Because I noticed when I came to India, we were treated this way by grihastas, and it was like, wow, like this is nice. But I noticed here there's not as much.
Yeah, that's the hospitality usually, you know,
Well,
anywhere you go.
this is the Vedic culture.
Culture.
This is the Vedic culture. Unfortunately, the generally, it's always there are exceptions, but generally, the more we go east, people kind of, they become more and more hospitable, more open. They don't have problem inviting you at their home, feeding you, allowing you to just stay and sleep overnight. The more we go west, people become more close, more afraid. They think that someone will explode them, and I'm sure there are reasons also about that, but generally hospital it's less, but still it depends very much on what kind of environment one is coming, what kind of family, what kind of culture. It's very, very important. Like, for example, today we were guests in a Bengali family. Well, I was feeling just like I'm in Bengal. They were received it the same way. We went, we took darshan with the deities. There was a huge altar, like in the living room, on the main place. You don't have a TV. You have a huge altar, and the deities are there. So that's the center of the house, the deities. And I was asking them, so how is your worship going? They said, yeah, we are worshiping them. And I said, so, like, what was the standard? They said, yeah, we are trying to make at least 3 aratis a day, 3 times. I said, really? How you are managing this? And one of the girls was saying, well, it's little not so easy because everybody is very busy. My father is going to work at 4:30 in the morning. So my mom gets up early and she starts cooking. Until 6:30 she has to cook something for offering, and then she leaves for a job also. And then my grandmother, she takes over. She makes the puja, the arati. Sometimes we do the singing before school, and then she offers the food. And then my father comes at 1 o'clock. Then he takes over. He's doing something. And then when my mother comes, generally in the evening, we get together, all of us, and we make kirtan, sing for the deities, read something. So I was thinking, wow, this is a temple actually, the whole culture. And then the way how they receive us, like in Bengal, opulent, like 10 preparations, and we ate, and they serve us like seconds, thirds, pushing us to eat more, like. It's not like, okay, you're done, okay, just go because next person has to sit down. No, eat more, eat more, eat more. And then once we were done, they came, they made a present to each one of the devotees. They had a special present, just like in Bengal. And they even gave donation to like the main devotee there, the most senior devotee. So this is the same culture. Okay, these people, they are living in US, but they know and they want to follow. Right. And because they want to follow, they follow. So now they may not be able to invite people every second day or third day. They may invite them once every 2-3 weeks or once a month. But it's the same system, it's the same culture.
But it is believed that
very beautiful culture.
Atiti Devo Bhava.
Yes, correct.
So that means like whoever comes to your home is like a god came to your home.
Actually, it's even more like technically speaking,
yeah.
Because when you invite someone, he is known as Titi. You invited him, so Titi means the day is fixed. Someone will come. Okay, I know. Friday someone will come. Sunday, so you prepare yourself. But now the Vedic culture is stressing even more for Atiti, a guest that you are not expecting. This is even more important to take care of him, because, okay, when you invite someone, it's sure you'll get ready, you'll get prepared. But now someone is just coming like that out of nowhere to take care of him. This is extremely pious activity, so much glorified in the Vedas. And yeah, many places, as Prabhu is saying, many places it's given so much stress about that. If you're a family person and someone comes to your door and you don't take care of them, it's actually very bad activity
Very bad.
for a family person. Now, of course, just to balance the things, if you're living in New York and all kind of crazy guys can come to the door, just
You can't take care
have
of
some
yourself.
discrimination. Yes, have some discrimination.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just leave a, I don't know, a basket with sweets just in front of your door, and if you see through the hole that the guy looks too strange, just tell him, please take a cookie and go away. So you did your duty, but at the same time you are protecting yourself. So anyway, 50% ideally Grihastas should give for spreading Krishna consciousness, or as much as they can. And 3 times they have to go before eating and ask for people if they need food. Then Grihastha life is allowed after proper training as a brahmachari. So Shastri is saying that actually it's not proper to get married without going through brahmachari education. That's why in some place Shastri is saying you can be a brahmachari for 12 years, 6 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, or 1 day, but you have to go through brahmachari education. That's why it's so important to be ready.
What would you recommend is like the minimum as like a quality amount of brahmachari training?
What is the main quality?
No, what would you recommend is like a
For
minimum?
duration, you mean?
Yeah, like duration, like a minimum time
Every
period.
person is different, I guess. So Prabhuji will-
Yes, for every person is different.
Right.
Still, if one can make at least, I mean, practically speaking, I would say if you can do it for 5 years, it's very, very good, practically speaking. Now we have situations where we traveled with nice boys for a year or a year and a half, and again you can see some result. They did the sacrifice, and there is already some nice traces in their character, but it's not enough.
Right.
So he's not completely ready to take the responsibility of family person. Like you can see, he'll do it, but it will be so much stressful about him to go to this transmission. If the brahmachari is completely trained, that means he really learned to live, to sacrifice for the guru, for the school, for the mission, then it will be very easy because, okay, I was sacrificing in the temple, now I'll sacrifice at home. It's the same thing. Before I was listening my temple authority, now I'm going to listen my wife. It's the same thing. Before I was caring for the young brahmacharis, now I'm going to take care of the kids. It's some adjustment, but it's not huge adjustment. But now if you are apparently living as a brahmachari, but actually you are thinking only about yourself, you are not really sacrificing as you have to, and now you have to jump in family life and it's totally different picture, it will be so stressful for you. You may be able to do it, but it may take really some serious endeavors.
So sacrifice is the main quality you look for in a brahmachari, to see if they're ready for grihastha.
Yeah. Sacrifice, we said sacrifice, ready to follow authority, control the senses. If you cannot control your senses, you have problem in family life. You won't be able to command respect in your wife. She will look at you, and she will look at you, and she will look at you, and she will say, and this guy is supposed to bring me to the spiritual world? No way, just forget about it. There was an interesting, like a short skit a devotees did for Kadambakana Maharaj on one of his Vyasa Pujas, so it was very funny. No, actually, I'm not sure. I think they did it, or Maharaj was just telling the story. He saw it somewhere else. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But the wife and the husband is just half lying on his sofa in front of the TV and watching football. with just on some t-shirt, and the wife is next to him, ironing and taking care for the clothes, and he's looking at him, how he's like, I don't know, how alive and watching football, and she's commenting and saying, and I thought he's going to bring me to the spiritual world. And the man is just, shut up! Just, instead of speaking, just bring me some coffee. And she's like, oh my God. But anyway, faithful, chaste lady, she's bringing the coffee. And the man, and cream! She's bringing the cream. And he's looking at her. I will prove you now that I am completely Krishna conscious. All right? And the lady is like, yeah. Okay, prove me that you're completely Krishna conscious. Just see now. Coffee, black, Krishna. Cream, white, Radharani.
Okay.
And if you combine them, Lord Chaitanya. Just see, Hare Krishna. But
So that's a good thing. Like he saw something like God is everywhere. So even if it's
Even in the cream.
that's a good thing for him, but I don't think it will work in his family life. It will take a little bit more than that. So basically the idea is, if you don't push before that, you have to push later if you want to make it work. Certain amount of job and pushing and intensity should be there so that your family life survives. And if you are not able to do that, it will just collapse, fall apart. So now, if you have this intensity already in the brahmachari life, then you just continue. If you, however, don't have that, it will be so difficult. Like, I'll give you another example for an amazing family person in Mayapur. He was one of my teachers. He was teaching me how to do yagya in Mayapur Academy. So he was also in the Gurukula for many years, one of the teachers there, actually, not just a student. And then he got married for a very nice lady, pious lady. So they had a kid. Every day on Mangalarati, he is in the temple with the kids. He goes through the whole morning program, then he goes home, then he is doing whatever his wife needs. Every day. His wife, no. His wife, she's taking care for her needs at home, whatever it's necessary. He's every single day in the temple, the whole morning program with the kids. So he has 2 kids every single day. He is Krishna conscious. His kids are getting Krishna conscious. His wife is peaceful, that he has a whole morning for herself. 4 or 5 hours she can do whatever she needs to do. And then she knows, okay, family will come like at whatever, 8, 9 o'clock, and then she'll take care for the kids and this and that. And he can do whatever is necessary for the family maintenance. How he's doing it, I don't know, but he was, this is what I heard, he was very ideal, very strict brahmachari, and he had these habits already from his previous life, and now he just started using them in his family life. So, as one spiritual master in one class was saying, first class brahmachari will make first class grihastha. Second class brahmachari will make second class grihastha. And third class brahmachari will make third class grihastha. So it's not, sometimes we think, oh, it doesn't matter what it was before, just let me fix on this one. You can do it, but it will be more difficult. It will be much easier if you are working already for 10, 12 years and you are preparing. What is easier? How it's easier to get your exam for, let's say, Cambridge or Oxford or whatever? Just by studying 3 days before the exam, or studying 12 years and preparing for this exam? So it's very like, there is a consistency in this thing. That is the idea. Does that answer? Okay, so what are important duties? A grihasta person should have sexual relationship only with his wife under regulation. Regulation means to beget Krishna conscious children. This is also called brahmacharya, and such a person is known as grihasta brahmachari. So that's the ideal standard for a grihasta. You have relationship, intimate relationship only with your wife and for begetting the children. Now, anyway, that's another topic. Some license for sense gratification perform such acts with restraint. So, a family person, we said he has lots of opportunities for sense gratification, and he may do so more than a brahmachari or a vanaprastha or a sannyasi, but still he should have some restriction in it. Brahmacharis, generally, brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis, for them, sexual life should be zero. A family person, he has the right to have this kind of life, but should be also under regulation. And also all other kinds of extras that he can get in a family life, whatever, like having a good car or a nice house or this or that, he can use them, but again with restriction. What's the idea of restriction? That he should be able to keep his consciousness spiritual, not become too much involved in all these things. Yes. And that's why in order to be able to do that, the idea is that he may have a lot, but he won't use all this a lot for himself. He will use something for himself, and the rest he will distribute. He will give to others. That's the idea. This is how he is finding balance. Restricted, unattached sex life is also a kind of yagya. General tendency towards sense gratification, sacrifice for transcendental life. Sex and attachment to the opposite sex should be reduced to nil, to zero. So that is the idea actually of family life. Things are going like that. Already when someone is a brahmachari, he is hearing the knowledge from Shastra. So he is understanding all these things. Wait a minute, we are not the body, we are the soul, we don't need all kind of material sense gratification. And that includes the sex, which is like the top of all material sense gratifications. So now, if he has very strong intelligence and realizations from previous life, he can understand, okay, I don't need this. So he just skips the whole thing. He skips these 25 years for family life, he just continues towards sannyas. But if he doesn't have this realization, although he has the knowledge, he heard this many times during his brahmachari life, but now he doesn't have the realization. So now he's saying, okay, let me see how it is so. Let me see how, even if I go through this, it won't make me completely happy, completely satisfied. Even if I have the best family life, like the best wife, the best kids, everything is fine, I have lots of money, this, that, still this cannot give me the same happiness as what I can get from my spiritual life, spiritual practice. So these 25 years in his life are meant for this. Basically it's experiment to understand that it doesn't matter what I'm getting materially, it cannot give me what I'm getting from my spiritual life, spiritual practice. And if after 25 years one gets to this realization, that is wanted. His family life is successful. Now if not, that's a problem. Let's say you did not develop the right qualities to be first-class grihasta, then you get married, then you have a problem with your wife, then you separate after like 2 or 5 years, then you think, okay, with this one it didn't work because she was wrong, so it's her fault, but now I'll find the ideal one, then you find another one, then you try with her, then after 5 years it doesn't work again, and then you try third time, fourth time, and then you are 55, and still you don't know what's going on actually. Why? Because your whole family experience was crap, it didn't work out, and you're thinking, oh, actually that is the reason, this is the reason, that, so no, I have to try again and again and again. And there are people who are getting married to you like they are 60, 70, whatever. Why? Because they didn't have the qualities to make their family life work, and now they want to experiment again and again and again. So actually they failed to get the realization they had to get in their family life. If you really properly go through your family life, the result will be that when you are 50, 55, when your kids are grown up, let's say they are in their 20s or whatever, they kind of situate themselves in life, you can move and you can say, I did it all, I perform my duties towards the family, I took care of my wife, I took care of my kids, they are educated, they are on their own now, they are happy in life, my wife is also happy, everything I did properly. But I realized actually my years that I was a brahmachari and I was completely sacrificing directly for the mission gave me more happiness and a different kinds of happiness than the happiness that I get from all these experiences, like having intimate connections with my wife or enjoying my kids, this, that. So it's okay, but it's not the same as the spiritual happiness I was getting from my spiritual life. So that is basically the idea.
I have a question. So you mentioned the age. So in the 50s, the person should be like about in their 50s to come to that realization. And let's say if they are not in their 50s, they're in their 60s, and they haven't come to that realization, and they're still looking. Then
It's not ideal.
it's not.
Even if you come to this realization at 70 or 80 or 90 or 100, great, because this is what we want. That's the realization we want. But it won't be ideal because you get the realization, but you won't really have much time to go back to the direct devotional service because life is gone. Even if you're still alive, you won't have the energy to do it. You can do something, but how much? Like, how many people can be like Srila Prabhupada on this age to start like a world mission? No. Most people, once they're like 65, they're gone. They're gone like, okay, 70 is like, okay, just leave me to read and eat and sleep, and I'm waiting for the moment to come. That's it. So anyway, even if we get it when we are late, still it's good, because that's the idea. That's the idea of the whole exercise, going through the family life. But if we get it earlier, it will be better, because ideally if you get this when you are 50, 55 and you can move, that means you have now ideally at least 20, 25 good years you can dedicate seriously to Krishna consciousness, but now you are not the brahmachari. Now you are a very mature person who can give so much to people. You have so much experience from your brahmachari life, from your family life, like you are full with realizations, full with knowledge. You can lead so many people, help them in their life, materially, spiritually, together. So it's very high class personality. And if you have the time to do it, it's very good. You want to say something? So that is the idea. And now, if the job is done, let's say when you were 25 you got married, you were 25, your wife was 18, let's say 19, and then you have your kids, let's say you're 27, you have, or whatever, 30, you have already 2 kids, and now when you are 50, 55, your kids will be 20 something. More or less, Yes.
Second,
Let's say
generation.
till 23, 24, 25, they are graduated, they started working, good job, and now gradually you can start moving out of the whole situation and giving more time for this kind of activities and less time, sorry, and giving more and more time for just direct devotional service. Just coming to the temple regularly, doing service, and so on and so on. So, if we say that Grihastha life, family life, is time for expansion, so let's say from 25 years till 50 years, 55 is the time for expansion. Now, the next period of 25 years is for opposite. You start decreasing everything that you need. Yes, in the family life you were increasing constantly. We need this, we need that, we have to buy this, we have to renovate, we have to buy a bigger house, we need a new car. It's constantly like we need so many things. Now when you become 55, starts going other way around. We don't need this, we don't need that, let's give this to someone. We don't need 2 cars. Okay, let's move to smaller house. We cannot maintain this big house paying so much money. So it becomes other way around. So you put less energy in material sphere of life and you start keeping this energy and utilizing it for devotional service, for missionary activities, for preaching Krishna consciousness. That is the idea. So this is the next ashrama, Vanaprastha.
Here in the West, they don't teach this. They don't teach it.
They don't have that
They
concept.
just, no, not at all.
Well,
It's go to school so you can get a good education, so that you can make a lot of money, so you can have a car, house, family. It's all promoting
And you die.
all promoting
No.
material.
and then the golden time will come when you work hard like an ass for a whole life and now you can retire. And now it's your time. Whole life working like an ass, and now it's the golden years of your life. Travel, and you suffer like crazy because you don't have a good digestion, your senses are not working anymore, your liver is giving up, your kidneys are making troubles, you have diabetes, all these problems. But anyway, these are your golden years of your life. You work and now you have money and now you can enjoy. How are you going to enjoy? Now it's not the time to enjoy. Time to enjoy was when you were 25 till 50. If you were intelligent, then you would balance your life in such a way that you make money and at the same time you really enjoy life. Now it's already too late. Now you can just wait for the time to come. This is what you can do. But this is the Western propaganda. It's like study, 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 work, 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 enjoy, enjoy, enjoy till the end of life. And the Vedic concept is not like that. Vedic concept is study, 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 work, work, work. Okay, half life is gone. Now go to the spiritual sphere of life. That's enough. 50 years is enough for material stuff. Whatever you did. That's it. Now move to the spiritual. Why? Because the whole idea of the Vedic social system is spiritual elevation. It doesn't matter which varna, it doesn't matter which ashram. Constantly you hear spiritual elevation, spiritual elevation.
Since the Grihastha is still considered an ashram, do you still attain realization throughout this time period? And is the realizations carried out more in the Vanaprastha/Sannyas part of your life?
Can you repeat again?
So like, you're still in the material world during your Grihastha phase. In terms of like realizations that you're awarded, does that occur more often during your Vanaprastha Sannyas mode, or does that get sprinkled throughout your Grihastha phase, or how do you
differentiate, like, or when you decide?
No, how do the realizations? I'm talking. So in bhakti realizations like say somebody's doing it right. They're in the grihastha ashram,
Yes.
unregulated. You know, they're doing the whole thing. They're reading the Bhagavatam on the side. They're going to, you know, the temple. They're still trying to spiritually elevate.
Yeah. Just that the Grihastha ashram, Srila Prabhupada in one purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says in the family life, spiritual advancement becomes very slow, almost nil. On the other hand, what Tulsi Prabhu mentioned is probably the most essential realization, you can say. And for most people, they have to get this realization in the family life. So it's a very major realization. So you cannot say that there is no realization. It's an ashram, it's a spiritual stage. Just that the specific nature of this stage of life is that you don't really have so much time for spiritual life. That's why you are grihastha, because you have material desires and you want to satisfy them in a Krishna conscious way, but still the nature of the ashram situation is that you don't really have so much time. You don't really have time to study Bhagavatam. Yeah, so it takes time. So naturally the dynamic of the spiritual life will be, it won't be usually so dynamic, so much towards of course there are different types of grihastas. Some are just preaching, traveling, preaching, distributing books, you know. But most grihastas, they have, shall we say, standard life. So it is just not meant for very, how to say, rapid spiritual advancement. It's not meant for this. For this is Vanaprastha, Brahmachari, Sannyasi, the other three ashrams. This one is meant for.
So they save it for the tail end of life to get back into the realization time period.
Sorry, say again?
They save it for to the end of their life to get back into
Yeah.
spiritual life.
What is the time? What is the time?
It is 8:27.
8:27. Okay, so you have a questions? Okay, so basically that was our discussion on Grihastha ashram. Many more things can be said, of course, but it's some idea of basic understanding. This is what we are trying to do. And then in the next classes we'll continue with Vanaprastha ashram and Sannyasi ashram. And then at the end we'll again try to see the whole picture together. So thank you very much for your attention. Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.